Nantero is an R&D company, and specifically R&D into semiconductors. And at the same time, it's an intellectual property licensing company. Now, when we say that, what we mean is we develop a bunch of intellectual property and then we license it to large semiconductor companies. What we're doing is we're taking carbon nanotubes and putting it on silicon in order to make a new kind of memory. And to do that, we have a group of PhDs and engineers and technicians and all the other support people that have to make everything work. A lot of people who are longtime industry veterans who found a really exciting opportunity to do something that's groundbreaking. This will probably be the biggest change in semiconductors in 30 years. And that's one of the really great things about a PEO and the particular PEO we're working with in Genesis, because they're making it possible. They have selected a good provider, and everything that we're doing with them is top notch. And that means that our people can focus on their work and not on worrying about their benefits. By working with a PEO, you get the advantage of an HR department of a company of a couple of thousand people, when in fact we're only 50 people. And also without doing the hard learning on our own nickel, because we won't have had to make the mistakes that you do the first and second and third time you go through something. They bring the experience and the day-to-day involvement in the area of specialization. And it just doesn't ever make economic sense for a company of 50 to have then half of my staff would be HR, and that makes no sense at all. Genesis is in the business of providing benefits, so they are in a sense forced, and they do it well, to have the latest technology to support me so that my high-tech employees get what they expect. Because certainly you're not going to explain to somebody in an intellectual property company with an engineering degree why they can't get at something online today. One of the things that I discovered when I did my last benchmarking is that the funds in our 401k plan are typically only found in 401k plans with $10 million in assets. And I can assure you that while we have a lot of good savers here at Nantero, we are not near that class, yet we're getting funds that are normally you don't have access to. And we can't help ourselves. We look at the numbers. So Genesis actually, unlike some of their competitors, lays out all the numbers very straightforwardly, so you can easily see exactly what you're paying for and how much it costs, which is very nice. I do the mental calculation. Okay, it costs me that much per week. Let me multiply that times 52. Could I replace that with a person? Could I replace it with two people? And then I start to say, well, okay, you'd have to have an HR person and you have to have a payroll person, even if they're part-time, and then that still doesn't cover a bunch of the stuff that they do for me. So, we've kind of run the numbers and said, we couldn't afford to do this without them. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. They have figured out that high-tech companies really are their customer. I mean, they built it for us whether they knew it or not.